Hi guys, welcome back to listen to myself. This is Pearly. So today it's actually a rainy day in Taipei. So yeah, I'm like wearing my pajamas right now because I didn't go outside today. So anyway, today I want to talk about how I went from super shy to confident. So it's basically a little story time today where I want to share with you how I used to be super shy when I was a kid. And right now, I wouldn't say I'm like super confident, but I would say like I think I successfully overcome my shyness. Anyway, let me share with you, yeah, a little bit more about me today. So I remember when I was small, I was like super shy. And to the extent that is quite extreme. So I remember that when I was a kid, my parents want me to kind of participate in like a activity because they want me to meet new people and also to just kind of like, yeah, just join different kinds of activities. And when I was a kid, I really hated that. I hate interacting with new people. I hate meeting strangers because I just like in general, I didn't even know what to talk with them, what to say with them, and also how to interact with them when I first meet them. I was super bad in, striking up conversation with people. And I think in general, just hated the feeling of being surrounded by new people, strangers, and things like that. Because, I just basically didn't know how to interact with people. And I remember like my parents really wanted me to join the activities. However, I would just like every time during the day that I was supposed to join the activity, I would just lock myself in my own room and then just hide myself under the table. That's basically how I just didn't want to interact with people in general. And I would say I was like quite shy in general growing up. And one day, I think when I was around like 16 years old, I was like all of a sudden like my switch is on and I didn't know why at that time I would all of a sudden think that I would just like I want to overcome this thing, like just being super shy and just not knowing how to interact with people. I just want to overcome this. And at that time, I decided to I applied to join like a very big event, and it's like a 3 days event. So basically, you would have to stay 2 nights with strangers in your room. So at that time, I think it was like four girls in the room. And in that event, it was a pretty big event. So there were like 120 people. And yeah, so I decided to just join that event that time. And I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna throw myself into like a very uncomfortable situation and see what it will lead me to, like kind of feeling. And I still kind of like, right now when I'm like recalling this episode, I still didn't quite know how at that time I was like brave enough to actively kind of enroll myself into that event, because at that time no one actually forced me to do that. It's not my parents that actually want me to go to that event. It's mainly me that I wanted to go. Basically, I guess it's just because I realized that my shyness kind of prevented me to do a lot of things that I would love to do, but I was just like too shy to do. For example, I would love to meet up with new people. I would love to start to, practice my English with foreigners, with strangers, but because of my shyness, I couldn't do that. And also, for example, I would love to talk with this person and learn more about his or her stories and his or her experiences, but I couldn't do that because of my shyness. I was too shy to even go up to this person and start to strike up a conversation with him or her. I think at that time I vaguely realized deep down in my heart that, yeah, I want to overcome my shyness because my shyness prevented me to do so many things that I would love to do in my life. So I guess that's one of the main reasons why I pushed myself at that time to join the event that I just talked about. And I would say that my first really like big event with so many strangers was so terrifying. Like I remember during my first day, I really just didn't know. Like in general, it's so hard to imagine how how I was like that before, because I wasn't like that anymore right now. So it was really interesting to recall. So I remember during my first day in the event, I was so afraid of talking to people. And, I think I was just like in general didn't know what to talk to them. And I I was also really afraid of how would people think of me. Like they might think that I'm such a weirdo. Like I'm like having like a social anxiety, or like I'm embarrassing, or I'm like saying something that was weird and things like that. So I was really afraid how might people react to my kind of acts, and also what I said in general. I think like after that event, during the first day it was tough, but I think it became a little bit better during my second day, a little bit even more better during my third day. So it actually improved a little bit by a little bit. And after that event, I decided to kind of push myself again to join more activities like that, because while like my first experience wasn't like fantastic, wasn't like amazing, but I think it did teach me a lot of things. Like while I still experience a lot of situations where I just find it quite awkward and quite embarrassing to strike up a conversation with someone, especially when I feel like this person is using like a very weird kind of gaze, or kind of like their like facial expression was like literally like telling me that what you said is so weird. What you said is like, what does that even mean? Or like when I saw that kind of facial expressions on the person in front of me, I was instantly like, it's a hard hit on my confidence. And also like I want to go back and just like dig a hole and want to just bury myself into the hole, kind of feeling like I want to just like stay in my comfort zone of just being shy and just not interacting with any people. So any kind of like this kind of embarrassing and crazy and terrifying and embarrassing, wait, did I just say embarrassing already, like awkward episodes wouldn't happen. Oh yeah, there are like moments like that for sure. However, I think I felt super proud of myself after the first event finished, that oh, so I was actually able to talk to two people during my whole like 3 days event. It wasn't a lot of people, only two people, but at least before that event, I wouldn't be able to talk to even like one person. But now I know how to talk to like two people. I actually like strike up conversation with two strangers. So I felt really proud of myself, and this motivated me to keep going. And I just pushed myself to join more and more activities. And yeah, that's basically how I overcome my shyness. That's the story. So if you are like also like shy like I used to be, and you also think that your shyness is preventing you to do and experience a lot of things that you would like to do or you would like to experience, then I would just like, there's only just one advice that I would like to give to you, is that just practice makes perfect. I think when it comes to shyness, it's just that you just have to learn to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. Just put yourself into those uncomfortable situations where you just have to interact with people. Like remember when I joined those events that I joined when I was like starting from 16 years old, those events were like a lot, it consists of a lot of like teamwork activities. So you are kind of like have no choice but to interact with people, because you gotta do teamwork for sure, right? Yeah, that's basically like practice makes perfect. And one thing that I would really love to point out here is that I used to think that shyness is like a negative trait or like a bad personality. Like, it's not like a very desiring trait at all. It's undesirable. It's not good to be shy. But it's actually totally wrong, at least in my opinion. I do not think being shy is a bad thing. It's necessarily a bad thing. I think the only situation that would make me think that being shy is maybe not so good is when that being shy actually prevented you to do things that you would love to do, like interacting with new people, meeting new friends, or doing this and that. That's the only situation where I think being shy is maybe not so good. But other than that, I don't think there's any problems with being shy. And to be honest, I think deep down in my heart, I think I'm still like a shy person, I would say. I think the interesting about being shy is that I actually don't know if there's like studies showing that whether like shyness is something that you were born with or you can actually develop that later in your life, or actually kind of how to improve that later in your life. I'm not so sure. I'm gonna check it out later. Oh, I should have checked it out before doing this episode, but anyway, I'm gonna check it out later and maybe I'll update it to you in my next episode. But I think even if we were born with, like when we were born, you were kind of threw randomly into like a one of the bugs of not shy and also shy. For me, I think if that's the case, I think I was thrown into the box that labeled shyness, like labeled shy. So I think I wouldn't say I was born to be not shy. However, I think shyness is definitely something just like what I said, something that you can totally overcome it and totally kind of like practice makes perfect kind of that feeling. Also, I want to talk about what are some of the reasons that people are shy so that it can help us to better understand why practice makes perfect when it comes to shyness. So I think I reflected it, and then I think there are some reasons that might explain why people are shy. So first of all, fear of judgment. So a lot of times I think we really worry about being judged, being criticized and or rejected by others, and it can make us to withdraw and feel very self-conscious. And also, besides fear of judgment, I also think that overthinking is also another reason people might be shy. People can be shy because when we overthink, when we try to analyze every act we are going to do or things we are going to say, it's just going to be very paralyzing, Like if we constantly try to analyze that, okay, in this kind of setting, if I say this, oh my God, would this people think I'm such a weirdo? Would it be something that was actually not supposed to be said, or am I going to make the atmosphere very awkward if I say this and that? If we overthink all the situations and started to imagine a lot of different hypotheses, different stories, different kinds of situations, then that's the reason why it keeps us kind of quiet and shy, because if you start to think of this, you just wouldn't move. You just wouldn't say a word because you're just so afraid of being judged by people, or, how would others react to you and things like that. So that's one of the reasons I think people can be shy. And another reason I think is it's just like simply like we are not used to interact with people, and just as simple as that. So when you are not used to doing it, when you feel like you have this like social anxiety and you kind of lack social skills, that's can be one of the reasons why people can be shy, because they just don't know how to strike up a conversation with a stranger. They just don't know what to talk about with a stranger that he or she just met, and just lacking these kind of experiences, practices, and skills. It just can be very difficult for people to actually meet new people and try to be not shy. I hope it makes sense. And also, lastly, I think the reason why some people can be shy is because of the cultural or familial upbringing. So I think we all were brought up from at different families and different environments, in different culture, different society. And I think in some societies, it can be, how do you say that? And also for some parents, like when they raise their kids, when they raise their children, they don't want their children to talk too much. They don't want their children to kind of express themselves too much. I think it really depends on the families and also the society. So in some societies, it's also like that. They don't want people to show too much of their personality. They want them to conform to the society, or they don't want them to have too many opinions, talk too much. And I think this might indirectly make these kids to be shy. That's my theory. I hope it makes sense. So anyway, after we understand why people, what some of the reasons people can be shy, now I think I hope it makes a little bit more sense why I think practice makes perfect. Like, practice is really going to help you to overcome your shyness is if you want to do that. So yeah, about fear of judgment, about not used to interacting with people, about like maybe your societal and cultural environment that causing you to be someone that is shy. Like, after you actually push yourself to do more of it, you will realize that it's actually not that scary. Of course, there are going to be situations where you encounter some awkward moments. However, I think at least for social skills, you will be much better at knowing what to say with someone and what not to say, and also what to talk with someone when you just meet him or her and things like that. You will just have more experiences, and after you have more experiences in it, you are just gonna know better how to do that. And also, another thing that I wanna share with you is about a concept called spotlight effect. So the spotlight effect is the tendency to overestimate how much others notice or focus on our actions, appearance, or mistake, when in reality, people pay far less attention than we think. So I think we have this tendency, like, to have this kind of spotlight effect, to think that, people are going to pay a lot of attention on us. We are basically under the spotlight. And people, if you make a mistake, or if you say something embarrassing, or you make the atmosphere very awkward, then people are gonna remember you, and people are gonna notice you for like, remember you for the rest of their life. Your embarrassing mistake, or like, people are definitely gonna notice you. But most of the cases, I wouldn't say it's actually the case in reality. So people actually pay much less attention on us. However, we think that people are paying a lot of attention on us. So there's a discrepancy. Is that the correct word? I hope so. So yeah, just don't get tricked by this like spotlight effect. Because people actually don't really care that much about you, even if like during the event or during like your situation, your encounter with these people, even if people notice your mistake, notice your embarrassing speech at that moment, I'm pretty sure they will just forget about it 2 days later, 1 day later, or just like 3-4 days later. So just like, really, just people wouldn't just care that much about you. So just don't worry too much about that. So for me, whenever I started to overthink, when I started to again have this like fear of judgment, of how would others think of me kind of feeling, I always try to remind myself that no one is going to remember and I'm probably just going to meet this person who noticed my mistake just this time in my life. That's the last time that I'm going to see this person. And that's the last time that this person is going to, just like meet me, that kind of things, especially when you join like an event where there are a bunch of people, bunch of strangers. There is a high chance that for a lot of people in the events, you are just not going to meet them again in your life. So why worry so much about being judged and or like actually embarrass yourself in front of these people, right? Just like what I said, I don't think like shyness is a negative trait. I really don't think so. I would say deep down in my heart, I'm still a shy person, but at least right now, I can decide when I want to be shy and when I don't want to be shy. And I think that's a really powerful skill. So at least my shyness is no longer preventing me to interact and meet with people that I would love to meet or to experience things that I would love to experience. And I actually love how like I'm a introvert and shy person because whenever I want to switch on the introvert and shyness side of me, I can just switch that on just like with like no problem. Like when I feel like don't feel like talking to people or when I feel like I want some alone time, I'm totally okay with that. I wouldn't blame myself just because I stopped interacting with people. I stopped meeting new people. I felt totally at ease when I kind of want to switch off my extrovert and also not shy side and decided to just be quiet and started to just like listen to what others are saying instead of keep talking and talking or instead of keep meeting new people and meeting new people. I could just enjoy my alone time, maybe just eating the buffet that the events provided and things like that. So I really love the two-dimensional parts of myself. One can be like extrovert and not shy and, just like having the ability to strike up with conversation with strangers if I want. And the other side of me, which is like I can totally just enjoy my alone time, just eating good foods, enjoying my little moment with myself. And I love how I can control these two sides of me. So yeah, I love that. So anyway, in the last part of this episode, oh my god, my camera is running out of the battery. But anyway, I'm gonna quickly talk about how to build up confidence. So anyway, like I found a pretty nice definition about being confident on the internet that I would love to share it with you. So being confident in yourself means having a belief in your own abilities, worth, and judgment. It's trusting yourself to handle challenges, make decisions, and be authentic without needing constant approval from others. Confidence doesn't mean thinking you are perfect, but rather accepting your strengths and weaknesses while still feeling capable and worthy. It's about embracing who you are, feeling secure in your identity, and facing life with a positive and empowered mindset, even when things don't go as planned. So I find it interesting how my journey of overcoming my shyness kind of goes hands in hand with building up my confidence. So I think the main thing that I learned about building up confidence, or I would say like if you would love to build up your confidence or improve your confidence level, the best advice that I could give you is just learn to be comfortable with being uncomfortable and just try to push yourself to do all sorts of things that you find uncomfortable, that you find challenging, that you are afraid of, and things like that. And of course, I'm not telling you to do something that is like really extreme or like just illegal or like, just gonna make you die or not a thing like that. But it's just like do things that you are interested in doing, but you stop yourself from doing that because you find it uncomfortable or you find it challenging, just things like that. Try to push yourself, starting from small things and later to a bigger thing, Because I think when it comes to building up your confidence, just like what the definition that I just shared with you said, it means like having a belief on your own abilities, worth, and judgment. So when you push yourself to do uncomfortable things, I think it's at least it helped me so much with just like knowing that I can deal with this thing, or knowing that I couldn't deal with this thing. So to have like a better understanding of myself, and to trust my abilities and know what I can do and what I cannot yet do. And also like just because when you do new things, when you push yourself to do uncomfortable things in uncomfortable situations, you also have to make a lot of decisions in the process. So you also become better at making decisions. So you build up the confidence when you are doing all this. That's really, really powerful. And I think that's just the best way to build up your confidence, to improve your confidence level, just to try to learn to be uncomfortable, try to learn to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. And also another thing about building more confidence when it comes to like my journey of overcoming my shyness is how it also really like taught me to accept both my strengths and weaknesses. Just like what I said, I think when my shyness is blocking me and preventing me from doing something that I would like to do, is definitely something that I would love to overcome. But when I was trying to overcome that, when I still have this weakness of, being way too shy and don't know how to interact with people, like I really learned to just accept it first. It's because it's really a lot of traits, a lot of our personalities, or a lot of skills in life. It's really not something that you can develop after a night of sleep, or like after a few weeks or even a few months. Sometimes it takes years of practice and practice. And when you are still improving your abilities, or when you are still developing, cultivating your abilities, that's the time when you have to first accept them. So just like what I said, like being confident is really not it doesn't mean that you have to think that you are perfect, or you have to be perfect. Not at all. It's really something that because you understand yourself so fully, and you really just like accept both your strengths and weaknesses. That's the time when you can truly be confident about yourself in so many different sense. And I hope that makes sense, because that's really so powerful. Because right now I think this podcast also helps me immensely. I share with you a lot of about my weaknesses, and also my challenges, and also a lot of not so, like, how to say, not really, not something that I can show off. And sometimes you might even think that, oh, that's so weird, why Pearly has this kind of like witnesses, like that's so weird for you to do that, and things like that. And I I think I'm okay with that, because I think I really learned to accept my weaknesses. And yeah, like I'm just okay with to have that, because I'm aware of that. So I'm trying to change that, but I'm still in the process of changing them. So of course I'm still I still have those weaknesses. So I think it's really the time when you are like at peace with your own strengths and weaknesses, both your strengths and weaknesses. It's really the time when you can feel so confident in yourself, if that makes sense. So I think, just to make it short, just do something that you feel uncomfortable with. And in the process of doing that, you will gradually develop your confidence. Also, for example, just like the newest YouTube video that I just shared with you guys, that about solo traveling. When I first started to do that, it's definitely something that I feel so uncomfortable with. I didn't even know if I could handle my own accommodation, and if there was like emergency, whether it's like physically or mentally, or just like things happen around me. I really didn't know if I can handle that myself. Like, what if, like, with my parents with my parents help, or like people around me, things like that, could I even handle that? Or like there was a lot of concerns for sure. But in the process of doing that, you will just get to learn that. And even if you fail, a lot of time we really are afraid about failing. But I would say failing is probably, just I know it's so cliche, but failing is definitely something that just you have to do that. It's just like you really just have to keep trying new things that makes you feel uncomfortable so that you will fail. Of course, I'm not saying that you you make yourself to fail all the time, but inevitably when you try new things, when you try new challenging things, you are going to fail. And when you fail, it's really the time you will have this opportunity to reflect on a lot of things that you wouldn't get the opportunity to reflect about when you succeeded, when you experience success. So that's very, very valuable. I know it's so vague to kind of say that, but I think in every situation, like it's going to be different. Like when you fail, it's not going to be the same thing as when I failed, even if we are doing the same things. And I think those are going to be like very humbling experiences. And I'm so sorry, I couldn't really come up with a concrete example right now regarding failures and things like that. But it's just like I just want to say that really like nothing to be worried about to fail, and just tell yourself that I'm trying this out and it's totally okay to fail or not. Like just tell yourself that I'm here to fail, and I think it will help you relieve a burden. I was just like checking if I missed anything, that because I had like let me show you, like I wrote out all the things like a bullet points, but sometimes my mind can be so messy and it's just like not very organized, so I'm just constantly like peeking my own notes, like whether I actually like skipped something or missed something. But anyway, I think I already covered everything that I would love to share today. And thank you so much again for listening. And I'll see you, or I'll talk to you again in the next episode. Bye bye. Bye bye.